Jack Fleming Artistry here. I have spread out in front of me a job for a customer where he's taking a Fat Boy and turning it into a bag. My friends over at Retro Rods did the paint on this and then wet sanded it, and I went and picked it up from them. And then I went over it with the customer, figured out a game plan on it. Not really going to tell you guys what that is because I want you to watch it unfold. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on it. Seemed like the easiest way for me to do this one is to go ahead and use transfer paper and tape my design up here, slide it behind that, go ahead and do the whole tracing off thing. Y'all have seen me do it a ton of times. I did take this over to my buddy Ryan's shop, Knuckle Busters, who's actually doing all the build work on this bike, and lined up the design on the tank first to see what it was going to look like, make sure it was in a place that I liked. I really didn't want it to tip down in the front. I think it's placed well. Let me show you what this paint looks like outside in the light. Alright, it's kind of overcast today, so it's hard to see what this paint looks like really in the sunlight, but you can get an idea. It goes from dark to a brighter red. Alright, so I'm not using one shot this time. I'm actually going to use Axalta's Hot Hues. There are a lot of good qualities to this paint. It is a urethane paint, and the reason that I'm using it on this project is this is going to get cleared over. And using a urethane just makes it to where there's a little bit less headache whenever it goes to clearing it. As you see, I only mixed up a little bit of this here. I'm adding a little bit of their hardener to it. There's a really good video on Hot Rod Jen's page about this paint that kind of goes through everything with Paul Quinn, the one who designed it, or I guess helped develop it. So I'll spare you guys a few of the details on how to mix this up. But there is a ratio for using the hardener and then a little bit of the high temp reducer here. And we're going to mix that up, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. Please go watch the video on Hot Rod Jen's page. It honestly is the best that I've seen for this. People are always asking me about brushes and paint. I am using a Tilly quill here. I don't remember exactly what size it is. And then also in this project, I'm going to end up using some King 13 brushes for outlining, or excuse me, for striping, and use a dragonfly and probably a vortex for doing some of the outline work and lettering. I've really been liking using these brushes lately. They seem to turn really well when it comes to do lettering work and work like this. And then this paint too, it's something that's been new for me to be using, and I really like, if you get the mix ratio right on it and all, just how smooth it is and how long it seems to pull on something before needing to repalette. Because it is a urethane, I'm cleaning up in lacquer thinner. I'm going to clean that and then pat it out on a paper towel and then clean it some more and keep doing that until I feel sufficient that it's clean. Really don't want those urethanes drying up in my brush. I know there's people out there that say not to clean your brushes in lacquer thinner, but if you're using urethanes, there really is no other way to do it. So just make sure you get them really clean, and when you're done, as always, go ahead and oil them up. I'm using Neat's Foot oil. Good price for it, and it lasts a really long time. That said, there are a lot of great brush oils out there. My favorite actual brush oil is probably the Mondego, just because it smells so good. Don't know what he puts in there to make it smell so good, but it sure works. I am using one of my Dragonfly brushes right now. I actually really like these for this kind of work. There's just something about the way that the hairs on them kind of snap. Also using it for the lettering here, or a different sized one. Come to find that I like using it for some scripts. I guess you could probably call this like a fast script. Seems to work really well for that. Don't really have a lot of tight turns, so it kind of works good for pulling those lines that are mostly straight with a little bit of curve to them. I haven't found a book reference for this script, and I'd like to, but I mostly see it on like semi-trucks and sometimes on motorcycles. I guess this is kind of turning into a here's the materials I use sort of video, but right now I'm using a Omnichrome pencil. I really like these. I find them easier to erase off of a paint job than the Stabilos. I have had issues in pretty extreme heat with the Stabilos kind of melting on me. These don't seem to do it as bad, but I have had them melt a little bit too. You know, I don't normally draw these things out. Usually I kind of come up with them off the brush, but I had an idea in mind on this of what I wanted this back design to look like. So I've drawn it out. And that's partially so that whenever I go to paint with those urethanes, they do dry a lot faster, and I've already got a game plan, so I'm not wasting the time to sit there and think about it later. You know, I said before that I was going to use a King 13 brush for this. I'm actually using an Alien Death Hawk, also one of Todd Hansen's brushes. These are made by MAC. It's the newer brush that they've come out with. It's very similar, I think. Some people note differences and stuff on them, but I kind of like them about the same personally. This probably isn't the best camera angle for you guys, but I'm really having a hard time working with the camera in the way. I'm filling in the center parts of this and a couple of other pieces with black. I kind of like coming back and doing that later. I know some people that'll put that fill part in first and then come and outline it. Totally a matter of preference. This isn't how to do it, this is how I do it. I think with pinstriping and a lot of things, you just got to figure out what feels comfortable to you and what you're able to do, and I guess most confident with, maybe. Alright, now we got this to where you can see a little bit better what's going on. I've really got to figure out a better camera setup for working on stuff like this here in the shop. You know, I'm really not filming quite as much footage as I would like to on this for you guys, but part of it is because these paints dry a whole lot faster than the enamels do, so it's a little harder for me to set up camera angles. But hopefully there's enough here to give you guys the gist of what's going on. I've done a couple of other jobs for this customer before, and he always likes giving a shout out to those who have done work for him. So we're putting on here who it is that built the bike, and then also who painted it, which my friend Ryan's the one that built this bike over at Knucklebusters. My friend Sig is the one that painted it, and he's over at Retro Rods. Alright, it's kind of late at night. I've just finished painting on this, but I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about what's gone on with it. It has been a little bit of a challenge for me, and that's because the bike's here in pieces. Or I guess I should say, the tins are here and not on the bike. I've actually had the bike here in the garage for a little while working on it, while I've had other jobs that have taken me away to go and do. So it's kind of cool. It gave me an opportunity. I drew the design out here, and we had talked about putting designs in a couple of other places. Mainly on the tops of these bags, and then on this fender piece. But as you just saw, I did not pinstripe those parts. I drew designs off on those parts, and as I was gone and coming back to the shop and looking at it, I was able to look at them a couple of times. I wasn't really happy whenever I drew them. I figured that I would figure it out. But the more that I looked at it, the more that I realized that putting designs in those parts of the bikes, to me, just didn't fit right. I did decide to do a piece on this headlight bucket. There's probably a better name for that. And originally the customer I had talked about maybe doing something there, but definitely doing something on the front fender. But as I put something on that front fender, it honestly just looked like it was stamped on there. It didn't look like it added anything to the bike. Whereas that headlight bucket looks like it just needs a piece there. It's so stretched out that it's kind of hard not to put something on it. So I guess you could say sometimes you just gotta feel it out, or at least that's how I work. I come up with a plan, I start working on it, kind of fill it out as it goes, and I don't know, it sounds kind of weird and hippy dippy, but I let the bike speak to me, or the car, or whatever else it is that I'm working on. So I'm going to get some sleep, let this dry, come back in the morning and clean off the pencil marks really well. Tell you, it's actually pretty dry right now. The urethane paints dry really fast, but I like to let them dry a lot before I come and clean those pencil marks off. And I'm going to go deliver it tomorrow, and I think I'll take you guys with me. Let you guys see my friend Greg and Sig's shop. It's Greg's shop, Retro Rods. It is cool. So let's go do that after I get some shut-eye. Alright, so we're pulling up here on Retro Rods. My friend Greg moved this business from Washington State to Texas a few years ago, and it's just been taking off. There's Greg with Retro Rods.
Hey, hey!
He's got an awesome office. So they're actually located here in Granbury, Texas. Small shop, but they do total and complete builds, mostly hot rod stuff. Didn't spend a whole lot of time inside. Yeah, they're busy in there working and all, making a living. I don't want to bother them and keep them from working, but I thought you guys just might like to see. This place is cool. They're some of my best friends. Actually, they do great work. Full builds, a lot of custom stuff. Sig's actually in there working on this crazy El Camino that's tons of custom body work. Since I was dropping this off, I wanted to show you guys. They're going to shoot me pictures at some time later after they shoot clear on it, but I'll go ahead and let this video come out before that. If you like this, again, as always, click the like button, hit subscribe. Tell me in the comments what you think about this style of video I've been doing a little bit more lately. A little bit of traveling, trying to show you guys people's shops, a little bit more about the cars. Hopefully it's more entertaining. I'm kind of finding it a little bit more fun to do. Click on one of the other two videos if you guys like this, and talk to you later, or see you later. Bye.